Hello and welcome to another episode of It Was Mooney, your source for all things movie, streaming, and pop culture related. I'm your host, Kosi, and I'm joined always by Wani B. And, dude, it's great to be back.
Great to see you back, Kosi. Cheers again.
It felt great actually doing that, just running through it. I actually haven't done that in 2 months.
Oh, man, it's been a while, listeners. It's been a while. We definitely... Right, we were lost at sea. If you've ever seen a Castaway with Tom Hanks, that's what Kosi was up to.
Dude, I was Castaway. Work, seriously, work had me just cast away in different cities, almost like every other week it seemed at times, and
Kosi's ass got gainfully employed, y'all. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, and basically no, I was like too good at the job, and they were just like, hey man, can you come over here and just fix this mess that this other guy did? Oh, can you come over here fix this mess in like another freaking state? So yeah.
We're all proud of Kosi for beating the bum allegations.
Dude, seriously, those allegations were unwarranted. I didn't like them. I had to beat them. And I'm a better man for it, and I think we have a better show for it. And look, so you wouldn't call this a reboot, would you? I hate that term, like reboot.
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. Don't call it a reboot. No, I feel as though that time off, almost that little bit of a hiatus, gave us a time to recoup, come up with some really cool ideas, cool stuff we wanted to do, and I'm excited just to be back and hitting this again with you, man.
No, we're hoping to. We got some plans, listeners. Obviously, Kosi's gonna stay gainfully employed, hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Same on my end. Obviously, the more listeners we get, maybe we can make this our gainful employment. Wink, wink.
That would be really cool. But we do appreciate you, listeners. All 10 of you.
one at a time, baby. One at a time.
Of course.
Now, Kosi, you know what? Tell us a little bit about it. Tell us a little bit about life on the job, life on the road.
Yeah.
What you were going through. Tell us about your shitty bosses.
Well, yeah, not...
no real names.
Yeah, no, obviously not. And honestly, all my bosses really were really helpful and instrumental in just helping me just learn the trade. I'm in project management, and in that one it's logistics and working with different warehouses and making sure they're all up to code and up to snuff and make sure they're good. So just the ups and downs of juggling different issues and problems, because I'm having to deal with the managers of the warehouse and my manager and workers and contractors, and you're having to juggle many different or spin many different plates, I want to call it. And I always was really, I was able just to do that, but it was really, really hard initially, and just encounters with just different personalities, I want to call it.
Definitely an interesting way to put it.
It really was just different personalities, and had to kind of grow up there, and kind of step out of my comfort zone and really interact with and work with different personalities, and it kind of felt like remember in the first Karate Kid, the '84 one, when he so when Daniel's son first got to California, just that kind of
fish out of water,
small fish in a really, really big pond, and I'd learned all this stuff in graduate school. Hey man, I felt I got this stuff. I know how to manage stuff. My degrees in project management. It's in there. I have a piece of paper that says that I'm badass at this, and then I'm thrown into the real world, and I'm having to shake hands with real people, and all that book smart stuff just was thrown out the window. And it was really, really cool to see me just fall on my face a little bit and kind of learn just how to really work with people, clash sometimes with different personalities, and come out the other end, and I feel better for, I definitely feel Castaway in terms of the different locations and just how isolating it is, being in hotel rooms a lot, having a went to eating a lot of Chili's at night, just, missed the home cooking, but, I think I'm a lot better.
Kosi was in some white hick-ass towns. It's the only way I can say, at least I got to go to Denver when I get all my work trips and stuff, I get some, weird off-topic thing, but Denver has, strange Mexican food.
Strange right? In a good way, or
no, not in a good way. You'll go the restaurant will have tacos, and you'll be like, oh, interesting. I'll get these fish tacos, and it's just I don't know. It's like some weird Taco Bell slash proper food, like white food hybrid, or it's like they just got like white food meat on it, but they got like the nacho taco shells, like the hard
It's white
shell.
people taco night. Sorry.
It's a straight. Like you're coming from Tex-Mex here in Texas. Obviously, we got a lot of
Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex. We got a lot of actual authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
I know plenty of actual Mexicans. You know, like make real like
Authentic.
from
Yeah.
right. So I got like full experience and all kinds of delicious Mexican food, and Denver ate it. Denver ain't it on that.
You hear that, Denver? You need to step up your game, Broncos.
But no, I wanted to one underrated thing with what Kosi said that I don't think he touched enough on.
What was
He
that?
is a project manager, y'all. Kosi is managing and giving orders to white people. Just imagine how proud his ancestors might feel.
It's not just white people, but no. I think I told you guys this in the chat.
Take some credit, Kosi.
No. Juan is correct, just to an extent. Like one of the first projects I was on, like the whole crew just happened. Everyone just happened to be white, and even they themselves, like they made like one of them pointed out to me, like, hey man, like they looked around and just I was the only black guy there, and I was like, all right guys, go to work. And I literally said that, and I texted you guys in the chat like, hey guys, this is my get back or something. But
I'm telling you, man, his ancestors are looking on from what is it, the Mufasa plain?
Oh, the ancestral plane.
The ancestral plane.
That's a way better term. That's way better.
The Mufasa plain.
The Mufasa plane. Yeah, from the
because they had it right the first time.
I love how I knew exactly what you meant by that, but I was like, ancestral
Simba.
No, but I think that's one of those things in the first few weeks, like having that kind of like fun outlook on it. It really helped me like ease into it, and not be so uptight, like sharing like pictures and like funny memes with you guys. But yeah, it was great to just finally come back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity for you oldies out there. But yeah, it feels great to be back and talk about movies. And dude, we have pretty
dropping
cool
Obama reference.
Obama and also Eminem reference.
I was just joking. He did it. Obama was dropping "Lose Yourself" today
at
a rally.
Oh, really?
Or maybe yesterday or something.
Obama.
He was doing it at a rally with Eminem.
Oh.
But we're glad to see that, Kosi. We're glad to see you gainfully employed, making that money.
Yes, sir.
Getting that paper. But yeah, hopefully we can get a good show for you guys and have a good setup to keep a little more consistency, not have some of these issues we've had the last few months. Hopefully our background plans will be enough to keep us on a consistent schedule.
No, Juan's right. We definitely went back to the lab again to reference Eminem to just make sure we tighten up the things with the show and just give you listeners a quality product. But anyway, yeah, going into the actual show, we have a good slate today. So what's first on top?
All right, so we're gonna take it back to some of the classics. We're gonna take you through some trailer trash.
Oh man,
we're gonna give you the Nosferatu trailer. The newest trailer came out a few weeks ago, and go over the trailer. Just came out today, actually, for Severance season 2.
Oh man,
the big Apple TV show.
Yes, sir.
And then after that, we're gonna review the first half of the Penguin show. First four episodes. We'll give some of y'all a chance to catch up on episode 5. Came out a few days ago. Came out a little bit ago, but hopefully we got an exciting episode for you guys. So we'll start with some trailer trash.
And the first one we're going to be looking at is the new Nosferatu trailer. It's the 2024 film from Robert Eggers. Lego My Eggers, our friend Robert Eggers. He's the guy that did what was it? The
Northman.
The Northman. Yep.
Lighthouse.
The
Lighthouse.
That crazy movie. Yeah, like his first breakout movie, The Witch, with Anya Taylor-Joy.
The Witch with a double V.
Yep. The Witch. Yeah. So like. So Robert Eggers is the kind of director who like whatever he does, like I'm there day one, and this is no different. This is a remake of the 1922 classic horror film Nosferatu, and it stars Lily Rose Depp. She's the daughter of Johnny Depp. Nicholas Hoult, Emma Corrin, who we just saw in Deadpool Wolverine. She played Cassandra Nova.
Okay.
Willem Dafoe always seems to pop up in Robert Eggers movies.
He has a perfect face for Robert Eggers.
He's
you know
great.
what I mean?
Yeah. I think I last saw him in Poor Things. That's the most recent one I saw him in. And also Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok or Nosferatu to round out the cast. So stacked cast comes out this December just in time for
December 25th.
Yeah, Christmas. We're getting bitten by a vampire on Christmas. And
not your usual Christmas movie.
Of course, it's a great holiday fun for the whole family with Robert Eggers. But we just watched that trailer. It was great looking trailer. But Juan, what did you think of the trailer just right off the top?
So obviously the visuals are spectacular.
Of course.
One of my favorite visual scenes was where you see the shadow of his hand, like he's pointing the Nosferatu, that kind of coil with the long hands, the kind of claw-like vampire hands.
You mean when it's over the city, the shadow? Oh, that was great.
Is going over the city in a kind of a rapid, unsettling way. Obviously, you get the metaphor of his shadow, his grasp looming over the city,
his control over people.
Robert Eggers knows how to create visual metaphors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can be a little artsy. He's not for everybody's tastes, right? He doesn't got that mass appeal necessarily.
But he definitely has his own distinct style and visual language of his films, as you said. So I love that about him. Visual
metaphorical language. Yeah. He really puts the character, the personality of his characters into the visual aspects of the movie. Does that make sense?
Yep, and case in point with Lily Rose Depp as that's the main character. She's being haunted by Count Orlok, and you could feel like that tension.
She's the traditional, pure-hearted virgin that tends to show up in these monster movies, and obviously the vampire loves that sweet vampire, sweet virgin blood.
He feeds off of that, and we could feel as his hand looms over, and at the very end, in the window, and you see his shadow in the window seal sheet,
silhouette in the. He's not really there. But you know his presence is there. He wants her. That's his goal.
And in a way, and I saw in the trailer too, she's even saying she's kind of into it in a way. He's definitely seduced her, with his powers and his manipulation, and she's kind of succumbing to it. And I really would love to see. I'm looking forward to seeing just this dive into madness. Because I think that's another theme with Robert Eggers' movies I've seen. He loves the descent into chaos and madness, and he makes it look.
Yeah, well,
gorgeous.
The pigeon scene will definitely is.
The seagull. He beats
the
it up.
Seagull. There we go. The seagull scene is
Batman just
the most purely
it.
visual representation of somebody going frustratingly mad.
He beat the shit out of that seagull.
in the lighthouse. And him jacking his own dick off with his fucking sawdust as sandpaper hands.
Dude, and
he ain't got no lotion.
And Robert Eggers made it a point to make sure you knew what his hands looked like. Again, it's
some dirty, greasy, worn out hands. If you've ever done some manual labor, not that me and Kosi can talk, but if you've ever done some serious manual labor, you know what those hands. You know what those hands look like, right?
Yeah, it's not the hands you want to.
It's not the hands you want to jack off with.
Oh man, but
no, listen. This looks like it's gonna shape up. This is looking like a good year for horror films. Cozy, what do you think of Smile 2? Give a little insight on that. Just a quick one-liner on that.
Yeah, Smile 2. Honestly, it's one of those sequels where it's really built upon and is better than the original Smile, the 2022 film by Parker Finn. Blast on the scene, with those creepy trailers and people smiling.
Yeah,
I thought, it felt almost like one of the those cheap Blumhouse movies that came out.
Yes.
It felt like that, gimmicky, but Man,
Those movies can be fun though.
yeah, but no, Smile. The
I
first
love
one.
Malignant, and that was peak
Malignant's
'90s.
so fun.
Peak '90s,
Early 2000s s
Yeah.
it would have been great. Late night TV s.
Yeah.
But the first Smile, like Parker Finn, the director, what he did so well was like he was able to blend like the paranoia with just this monster and have it kind of not just be a cheap jump scare thing, but it had something to say about mental health and illness. And then going into this one with Naomi Scott as it's about a pop star who gets this almost like a virus, this entity that like takes the shape of people smiling at her, and it's scary for that to happen to a pop star like Lady Gaga-esque pop star who has millions of fans smiling at her at all times. So like it showed her descent into madness. And Naomi Scott, I know like horror movie people don't really get a lot of love for like best actor awards. Famously, Toni Collette did not even get nominated for her role in 2018.
Lee Curtis should have been nominated at some point.
Yeah, 2018's Hereditary. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode just across 40 years. I think Naomi Scott in her role as Sky Riley should get some kind of nomination, because what she did in this role, like the depth she went to, just the roller coaster from start to finish they took her on was amazing. And like it's crazy how Parker Finn, I almost thought like it was a different guy that directed this second one, because like he just improved upon just shot selection, how it's made, like it's slightly bigger budget, but he made it work. So I just loved how he improved upon himself. Looking forward to what he does in a third movie if he does. So watch Smile 2. It's out right now in theaters, and yeah, 2024 is a great year for horror.
You hear anything about Terrifier 3?
Terrifier 3, look, so I love horror, but I have like a pretty weak stomach, and
is that gross out?
The stuff I've seen in Terrifier 2
That's why I couldn't watch The Substance. I've heard good things about The Substance.
I want to see The Substance. Look, In a Violent Nature has one of the greatest kills I've ever seen, and like it's not like, but it's like done in a cool way. The Terrifier series, it kind of like relishes in the horror, and to me that kind of turns me off a bit. So
yeah, I haven't watched torture
3
porn. I can't do torture porn.
Like
I love horror movies. See, I love the turnaround the horror movies made right around the time of Conjuring and Insidious.
Yeah, like the late 2010s, like 2010,
late
2011.
Because horror movies, I don't know. I feel like we're like talking on the porch, but back in our day. But horror movies used to be a lot of gore porn,
Saw started,
torture porn. Hostel was, I think, the peak example.
Yeah, Saw was 2004, then Hostel was like 3 years later.
A lot of jump scares,
a
lot of slasher, like cheap films. Somewhere around the time of Conjuring, people decided to say, hey, we can just make a scary fucking movie.
And like going back to like a big studio like Warner Brothers made The Conjuring, like a mainstream studio making a horror movie, putting some money behind it, and like James Wan, like that was
I'll never forget that movie. Okay, that movie has no cuss words. There's barely any blood. None of the main characters really die. There's really not that much bad stuff, but it's rated R. I swear to God, it's just too fucking scary. It's just too fucking scary. So no, we can't allow this.
They couldn't write that in the MPAA like, oh, too spooky, but they just like, oh, for scary images or whatever.
Yeah, like something along those lines. So I'm serious, guys. It's nothing. I think there's like maybe 2 cuss words in the movie. It's like some Christian ass movie.
But Juan, those ghost hands in the dark.
But you know what? And it's gone up from there. Means. We've now seen stuff like Hereditary.
Yep.
We've seen Jordan Peele come up with high concept films like Get Out like Us.
Mm-hmm.
What was the newest one?
Nope. Nope was great.
We've seen an artistic renaissance.
Even Barbarian. Barbarian's another one that was incredible. Malignant's another one. Like, renaissance.
We watched the one this year, Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil, yeah.
These kinds of movies, they have some jump scares. They have a little bit of gore and stuff in them. But it's such high concept movies. And they're all so low budget that they can get away with this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? We're looking... Theaters in general, movies in general, are going through a little bit of a rough time in Hollywood, I think we could all say. The superhero bubble has seemingly at least somewhat burst.
I think more so like viewers are now more choosy with what they go to see, superhero movies in general. Like we saw Deadpool & Wolverine's like the most proper movie ever made, but nobody went to go see Joker for all you do. So like people now are like really, really really
word of mouth is everything.
Yes,
These days.
people are now being very, very deliberate with their money, with what they want to go see. Yeah.
But I will say, for whatever other issues we're having, we are in a golden age, and we have been in a golden age.
Of course, yeah.
Of horror movies.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of brilliant stuff. You got some slashers. You got the Scream
The
series making a
duology,
strong comeback.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
And Nosferatu.
Something for everything.
Yeah.
Something for everything.
And Nosferatu, though it is a remake, Robert Eggers really looks like he has something to say with this, and it just looks gorgeous. And again,
it is a remake, but how many people nowadays have really watched the movie from 1922?
Of course.
You know what I mean?
It's one of the oldest
We
movies.
all know it's there. We've all seen that image of Nosferatu in the doorway, looking all scary.
It like What We Do in the Shadows kind of made definitely made fun of that character. Like you've seen it all. So like
definitely.
Robert Eggers is gonna give his take on that, and it's gonna come to theaters.
I think it's gonna modernize and make it scary again.
Oh yeah.
I think the name Nosferatu is gonna mean something other than just a reference to an old school vampire.
Yep.
All right, no fun times. So continuing on, we got Severance season 2.
Man.
So finally,
Severance.
Even the trailer before we get into too much, even the trailer makes a joke about how freaking long it's been.
Yeah, again,
2+ years.
So it's been 2 years since Severance, the first season. It's the Apple Plus TV series. It's created by Dan Erickson, directed by Ben Stiller in some aspects. He's also producer. Stars Adam Scott, Zach Terry, John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette. Stacked cast. Just love this show. It's on Apple TV Plus, and yeah. It's been like 2 years since we've seen any of these people on screen.
So for the viewers, a little bit of a recap. I'm sure we'll have a proper recap when the show airs. But for a little bit of a recap, the concept of the show is basically it's a sci-fi. It's a low sci-fi show, right? Where it's like a kind of modern-ish world with one big technology change, which is that this company has the ability to sever people's minds in a way, like their actual conscious mind, in a way that when they come into work, their work mind is completely separate from their real life mind.
Which, in concept, as crazy as it sounds, could be efficient, because if you can separate that,
kind of cool, right?
On paper,
it sounds dystopian, but
definitely.
If you don't hate work, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm the kind of guy that works, it doesn't sound totally awful. Like, okay, I come into work, I turn off my brain, do whatever I have to. The guy who's there is not thinking about how you'd rather be at home, playing video games and catching up on the Penguin and whatever else. Right, he's just like at work. He doesn't know anything else. It sounds in some ways like it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Right? Am I crazy? Right? It's not. But the show kind of shows that. The show that shows that these characters often choose that, and not in a dystopian like, oh, they choose that because it's either that or starvation on the streets. Like the main character actively chooses it as a way to handle the grief he has from losing his wife.
And I think what makes it dystopian is the fact that this Lumen Industries has this available to the public.
Lumen Industries is the main company. The main company that has this technology. It's not a generalized, everybody has this all the time. It's this company that has it. It is to protect their proprietary information. Curious thing about the show is a little bit of a mystery box in that we don't know what the company does.
It's great. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Lost. Definitely reminds me of like Office Space a little bit, but like a creepy version of Office Space.
The scenes of them working have an Office Space type vibe where they're kind of simple, goofy characters that are into their job. The stupid stuff you see in offices to like motivate employees, like, oh, here's a little little notepad with the little company logo, or a cup with the company logo. Oh, here's a little pizza party, or oh, we're gonna have a little bit of music. That kind of stupid stuff nobody really likes as a reward in real life. We'd all rather have bonuses or better pay or whatever else, or at least good. Like, okay, we're gonna have like a celebration as a food. Don't have a pizza party. Like, bring in some Chick-fil-A, bring in some proper food, bring in some barbecue.
I'd go think bigger one.
Bro, Chick-fil-A makes some good food.
We will throw you in the trash if you just bring us Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A got some good stuff. It's better than pizza,
you're right.
Don't disrespect the Lord's chicken.
You're right.
No, but you're right. Let's talk about some barbecue. Let's talk about some proper food.
Yeah, some real food. Yeah.
Right? Trying to get some nice food at the company. But no, these are the kind of people who they don't know any better. So the company gives them a little pen with the company letterhead and tells them it's a prize, and they get excited. Right?
Yeah. And what I love about Severance, it kind of sort of captures like how. What if you just got fed up with that? And that can be fed up, and that could cause its own anxiety. And like I loved how in the trailer for season 2. We're met with that same anxiety with Adam Scott's character, and like it reminded me a lot of the movie called Brazil. It's a Terry Gilliam movie about kind of the similar concept about like what's real, what's not. If you could maybe almost lobotomize yourself. So I love the fact that like it kind of took that idea of what if we took the anxiety of not being like respected or being valued as a worker like that, and like put that onto a character. So I love that in that season 2 trailer.
That's a good point.
Yeah, can't wait.
So the way season 1 ended, and it leads right into this one. Basically, there's a big reveal or
spoiler alert for you guys who haven't finished season 1 of Severance.
It's 2 years ago, so it's on you at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely fair game now.
But so one of the main characters, this lady that comes in, turns out to actually be the daughter of the owner of the company.
Bum, bum, bum.
And she went into the severance program when she severed herself and started working there, kind of as a way to prove that it was safe, that it wasn't so bad. And then her actual alter ego within the severed employee was basically like, fuck this.
Scorched earth.
What the fuck is going on? No, I didn't sign up for this. She actively tries to kill herself. Like as a way to get back at her real world alter ego. She's like, oh, I can't have a real life. Okay, I'm going to kill myself as a middle finger to you for putting me in this scenario. Anyway, so she's the company's owner, so they figure out a way where the company's daughter is supposed to be giving a speech promoting the severance program. And instead, the worker version alter ego takes over and tells the whole world, hey, everything is fucked. Everything is a lie.
Yep.
Everything is awful. Basically, all the worker little bees inside start to realize there's an outside world and start to realize just how much they're missing.
And they go nuts.
They basically start to want an outside life. They don't just want to work. They start to want actual connection to other people. They want to start to have a full life. It's not that they hate their other alter egos necessarily. It's more along the lines of, that it's once they realize there's something more than just, little pizza parties and notepads and stuff. Once they realize there's more to want, they rebel.
And I think what we're going to discover in season 2 of this, again, I have no insider information, but I think what we're going to see in season 2 is once they realize that open world, they'll experience that, and we'll see. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener, but they'll understand more and be better for it. But they're going to encounter their own set of different circumstances and challenges, which I can't wait for. This cast is amazing. We have Adam Scott, we have Zach Sherry, we have Britt Lower, Tremel Tillman, just again John Turturro, Christopher Walken, Patricia Arquette. Again, just a really stacked cast who are coming back for this second season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And
stacked cast indeed. Going into the trailer, some of the specifics of the trailer a little bit.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah.
It's so honestly, it's more of a teaser. It's a very high concept,
a teaser,
artistic trailer.
Love the camera movement of on Adam Scott's face.
So you kind of get it's kind of following up immediately on the events of the final season, and Adam Scott's characters back in Lumen, his severed characters back in his work site, and you can tell, he's unsettled, he's hectic, his mind's racing. Things have popped up for him.
Very amazing shot.
And then he kind of gets back to his office, and he sees a similar setup but with different faces.
That was a great reveal.
The girl from Arrested Development.
Alia Shawkat. Alia Shawkat. I love her.
That's only one you really recognize. Yeah. And then I forgot his name. The main black guy from the first season one. The main his supervisor, Adam Scott's supervisor. Yes. Forgot his actor's name. He comes in. He makes a little joke about how it's been a long time since we've seen him.
2 years, brother.
Lampshading a little bit how long it's been. And then some cool music starts to play, some hip little music. It's definitely more of a teaser than giving away anything, but it sets the tone for what you're expecting. Where he's unsettled, he's frantic, he's trying to get back control,
and then
Lumen is trying to reimpose the control it had, reimpose its kind of dystopian vision, a top-down vision.
His boss walked in with balloons, smiling with balloons with his Adam Scott's face on it, trying to put him in. He said, "No, hey guy, it's all good. It's all good."
It's unsettling.
Come back. It's almost like he's telling both Adam Scott.
There's a smile to his face, but you can tell in his eyes, it's fuck you for what you did.
He's telling Adam Scott, "Hey, welcome back," but also us, the viewer, "Hey, welcome back. We've missed you." And it's crazy to see the first season that aired. The first episode was February 2022. The first episode for this new season will come out on January 17th, 2025. So almost 3 years after the first one.
It's been a long time.
It's been a minute.
New normal for TV, apparently. A long time between episodes.
Look, if it takes that long just to make a quality product, I'm all cool with, and I don't.
Funny enough, Slow Horses is popping out seasons like it's nothing. I had to catch up on that show, but it's coming out I think. The last 2 seasons came out within a year.
Say Slow Horses? Okay.
Yeah, within a year, 6-8 months of each other. They're just popping them out.
Yeah.
Severance is a little more. It is sci-fi, but it doesn't have a lot of fancy sets and high-level technology. It's low sci-fi, right? Yeah. So, but there's obviously a stacked cast, stacked writing team to keep it interesting.
Oh yeah.
So probably the best. Quality-wise, probably the best thing Apple TV's put out. Definitely recommend watching Season 1 in anticipation, and if you haven't already.
Yes, sir. And
all right. So, kicking it off to our big review of the week, we're going to review episodes 1 through 4 of The Penguin.
Dude, just...
Take us through some of the setting codes.
Just wow! I just want to say just wow. So yeah, so the Penguin for you guys out there. So it's actually a follow-up little mini series, follow-up to the Batman, the 2022 film directed by Matt Reeves, the Robert Pattinson version. And this is about the character from the movie The Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. And this takes place, a couple days at the end of the Batman, where the Riddler flooded all of Gotham, destroyed everything. This series, The Penguin, takes place, a couple weeks after that, and the Penguin trying to pick up the pieces, literally, of his life that's been washed away and rise back to the top. And he has other people gunning for the same position, and we have Crhristin Milloti, your mother from How I Met Your Mother, who's amazing in this, and other players who are also vying for that spot. And it's a great series, great homage to
some of the leads. Coach, we got Colin Farrell.
Oh man, yeah, we get definitely. I mentioned Colin Farrell. I mentioned Crhristin Milloti. We also have Clancy Brown, who's always great in whatever he's in. Carmen Ejogo.
Who's Clancy Brown again?
Clancy Brown is Maroni, Salvatore Maroni. He's a guy who was in prison the whole time.
Yes.
Theo Rossi, you might remember him as Shades from
Shades
from
Luke Cage,
Luke Cage. Mark Strong coming in to replace John Turturro. He actually played Carmine Falcone in the Batman, but for scheduling conflict, I believe because he was filming Severance, I think he just couldn't.
Conflict. Also, he said something along the lines of he didn't want to film a character that was so violent to women the other day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
But I think it was a big part of it was just the scheduling conflict.
Gotcha. Yeah, but
to be fair, Mark Strong, at least in his first scene, looks a lot like John Turturro.
In, but he's also playing a younger version of John Turturro's character,
a little bit,
so I can see.
Yeah, 10 years younger.
Yeah.
He pulls it off.
Definitely. But yeah, stacked cast.
We got Doug from House of Cards. I forgot his name. The guy who's VD, the cousin.
Yes,
yeah.
We we have a couple House of Cards people, a couple Sopranos people up in this show too. I just loved just the whole, not just the cast, but just the look, the writing, just over. I guess trying to get ahead into this, but like just overall thoughts. I thought this was a very, very strong show. So what did you think of the show overall?
So, taking it through again, so only the first 4 episodes, couple.
Yeah.
It's already episode 5, already out at
We'll
least.
cover that, yeah.
But we'll cover that. Probably do a review once the season's out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Once the full season's out. No, so listen. Obviously, the obvious comparison here is The Sopranos. I think would be the biggest one.
And Godfather, the first 2 Godfather movies.
It it feels a little more like Sopranos and maybe even Goodfellas more than necessarily the Godfather. I see
some Goodfellas up in there.
Like the Godfather, yes, obviously there's an Italian mob and stuff, but the Godfather presented it almost in a kind of regal way. It almost made you think the mob was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a Greek tragedy almost. Yeah,
yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
As a Greek tragedy with the mob, you kind of feel for the mob, you buy into their honor and stuff. This, you're taking it from the perspective of the Penguin, who's not, a scion of one of these mob families.
He's
not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He has to work his way up. He's a poor asshole from a shitty family who had to gain everything from himself. So, from him, the gangster system, the mafia system is not, this cool, regal system of lineage of loyalty and stuff. No, it's just, people being assholes, and he's trying to be the biggest asshole so he can get his and get what he deserves and get the respect he feels that he's been denied his whole life. Obviously, he got his weird waddle because his foot is all fucked up.
Which with a really, really gross visual.
Yeah, Gross has a foot. So people call him a penguin. Not like in the Batman show where it's like, penguin like a fancy aristocrat type with a fancy tuxedo. No, like penguin like, he waddles around and is kind of fat and grotesque looking. So, it's a way to insult him. It's a way to demean him and treat him as a piece of shit, as beneath the real gangsters, the real made men, the real capos, all these people.
Right.
And he's just kind of useful and amusing. And the series beats you over the head with it. They let you know.
They really do that.
None of these guys respect him. That none of these people treat him as an equal. They all treat him as a tool, as an amusement, somebody who can be useful,
but I think
and discarded.
I think that works to like really, really like show his rise. Like they really need to know like where he is in the totem pole, so like you can see his trajectory. So I definitely can see like why that was.
He's one of those characters that understands. Reminds me of that Tyrion Lannister quote from episode 1 of Game of Thrones, where like if you wear your weakness as an armor, you wear it proudly. Yep. It can't be used against you.
Yeah.
Right. I can't remember the exact line, but it's basically like he even says something like that. He makes himself small so that these mafia people and these mob bosses can feel big.
Yeah, like he embrace like what makes you different. Remember at the dinner at that table with Victor's character, because Victor has that stutter, and it's like, hey man, like you shouldn't stop him from saying it. Say your stutter, like live your.
So Victor's kind of like his little henchman. He picks up from the streets, and one of his big things is that he has a stutter. And again, in the Penguin, Colin Farrell's character, Oswald Cobb, they got rid of the Cobblepot, which honestly I'm a fan of that. Cobblepot sounds like a goofy name for a real life person.
Like this one, it sounds more like he comes from like a rougher town, not from like.
He's not an aristocrat. Yeah, he's not like some rich aristocrat with like.
He's from the neighborhood.
Yeah. So Oz Cobb. So you can tell the Penguin sees a little bit of himself. He's walking around with a limp. He's not being taken seriously. He's being treated as a joke. So he sees this guy that has this stutter, that can't get his message, that has some ambition, but obviously is getting underestimated. And he says, "Hey, use that and take up space." Is the line Colin Farrell says.
What I thought was cool about Victor's character, like because Oswald comes upon him when he and his friends are like trying to boost his car, kind of like how Jason Todd trying to boost Batman's car in the comics. It was kind of a really cool, like almost like mirror to that, but like it's kind of the villain's version of. He kind of found his own little Robin in there, and like kind of trying to put Victor on this path, and because Victor's a good kid in a mad city basically, and like Penguin sees this, but he's gonna manipulate that, and I thought that was brilliant.
I think manipulate in a sense, but in another sense, I think Penguin truly, it's like almost like it's like a mentor.
Yeah, like he definitely sees a bit of himself in Victor.
Yeah. He's a little bit of himself. He truly seems to want the best. It's a tragic tale because you can almost tell, guy like the Penguin, guy like Cobb, you can just tell at some point he's gonna betray Victor. At some point, it's gonna be him and Victor. It's gonna be a situation where he's gonna benefit by screwing over Victor, and there's a part of him that'll feel bad about it. There's a part of him that'll know it's wrong and that will kind of hate himself for it. But there's a bigger part of him that'll be like, no, it's me, myself, and I. Yeah. I gotta get mine. And he's raised that way. We see his mom actually, I think, in episode 2.
And before, and we do see in episode 2. But I gotta just say this: going back to the point you just said in the beginning, I want to just establish this. I say it's like The Godfather because it's not just a story about the Penguin in this, but also it's a story of Crhristin Milloti's characters.
That's a good point. We haven't talked about her.
Yeah, and I'll get into her character. So Sophia Falcone, it's her story. Sophia Falcone, for me, kind of reminded me of...
It's like a dual protagonist situation.
Of Michael Corleone, to me. Because both are characters who are in the family, but they're not really trying to get their hands dirty, but they're kind of pushed into it. In Michael Corleone's case in Godfather, it's kind of like all right, I'll do this because I have a noble, almost like a Greek, almost like regal ode to my family. But for Sophia's case, she's kind of like, she's double crossed. She's betrayed by her family, and she has to become this mob person. And there are certain shots where like she's having to address her family that like it looks like scenes like right out of the first Godfather. There's even a scene where she's because she's a woman, they don't really like her uncles and whatnot. Who after her dad died, there's like a whole like power vacuum, and like they don't really give her the respect, and they kind of like literally close the door in her face. Very reminiscent of the end of the first Godfather, where Michael closes the door in his wife's face, and just like these little hints there that like I definitely saw it as almost not like a straight up remake of the Godfather, but like definitely an homage to like and thematically and in like shot wise. But
there's definitely there's a movie that wears its references to other mob movies.
Oh yeah.
Proudly. It's a little bit like the first Joker, how it was blatantly referencing other Scorsese films.
Yeah, King of the Comedy.
King of the Comedy,
Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver, the biggest ones.
Yeah.
It's...
But yeah, going back to Crhristin Milloti, she did, again, in terms of like performances that should get nominations, her performance as Sophia Falcone has just been incredible. Just her journey, watching her backstory, watching her to now, like
episode 4 went deep into the details of what happened to her. Basically, we start off the series. She looks kind of like crazy goth emo girl. She has the nickname the Hangman. You're told that she was in Arkham Asylum, that she killed a bunch of women. She has the nickname the Hangman
because all her victims were hung.
Yeah, all her victims were found hanging. So that's the establishing, and she plays up to that. She has this unsettling feel. You find out she's been in Arkham for 10 years, so it's not surprising that she has a kind of crazy eyes and crazy personality.
Great acting.
Yeah, even if she wasn't crazy before going in there, being in an asylum for 10 years will do that to you.
And actually, it's not just that. Like, we think that she's going to go in there just for a couple of weeks for her trial, but then her brother comes in and is like, hey, sorry, but like, you're in there for like 10 years.
She's supposed to be in there for 6 months originally. It's supposed to be a temporary. Even the 6 months is incredibly rough on her.
Yeah, they beat
and then
her
she
up.
ends up getting stayed there for 10 years. Basically, the backstory is that her father's a serial killer, killed her mother, and then killed a bunch of other women.
And
then when Crhristin Milloti's character, when Sophia Falcone started basically catching on to that and realizing he killed her mother.
And she started talking to the press a little bit too. And he caught wind of that.
A journalist told her what was happening basically, and she realized from her memories that it all matched up. And so basically, her father's reaction is to send her to an insane asylum.
Cold-blooded, bro.
Because she started to suspect that. Oh no, she started to realize that he had killed her own mother.
Send her and also kill her? Question. I think he sent people in there to kill her too.
He kind of did.
Yeah, I think so.
At the very least, to make sure she was going to be there forever.
Yeah,
I don't know if she
cold-blooded.
was like, maybe he wasn't quite willing to just outright kill her.
Right. Definitely didn't make her stay the best.
Yeah, but anyway, so now her father's dead from the Batman movie,
Right.
And so she's out. She got out, with the help of her brother.
Dude, and he's from Mrs. Maisel. He's the husband, but like cool to see him. But holy shit, like a really big. Again, this will contain spoilers for the. This will contain spoilers for the episode, but like. Oz just taking him out in the first episode, like to establish like he's not playing around and how that
Not just not playing around.
The fallout of that.
One thing.
What he's willing to do.
So basically, Sophia's brother has been named the replacement to Carmine Falcone. He's the new head of the Falcone family.
And it was originally gonna be her, but like.
And, it's supposed to, and he's like a jackass. He's the traditional, you'd almost think he was Russian instead of Italian. Traditional jackass party boy. If you've seen John Wick, he's
okay, he's like Theon in that movie. Okay.
Yeah, he's like Theon in that movie.
He's not as much of a little shit, but yeah.
He's not quite as much, but he's still a pretty big shit.
Yeah.
And then, so, Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot tries to open up a little bit, tell him kind of his dreams and stuff, and basically, Oswald Cobb does not like being disrespected. He understands what he looks like. He understands he looks ugly. He understands he waddles around. He understands people don't take him entirely seriously, but he has that insecurity of being openly disrespected. Doesn't help that you see from a little bit of his interaction with his mother that his mom is the kind of type that was like, hey, you gotta be a man and you gotta do this.
But look, Albert straight up was insulting him. Like he laughed at him, called him a bitch. Like,
but it's hard. Sopranos references. Penguin's mom kind of reminds me of the Soprano
Yes, that was
mom.
the big one.
There's a problem mom with that same shitty attitude. It's like, oh, my son's a little bitch who doesn't do things the manly way like he should.
And instead of having the therapist, he has Eva Carlo, the prostitute, as like that. Like she kind of fills in from that psychiatrist role. Yeah.
Because he's not married and stuff, right? He's ugly as shit. So the movie plays around a lot with that the psychology of both Oz, the way he desperately wants to prove and grow and be on top, the way he almost seems to care about certain people.
His mother, his mother especially.
He cares about his mother. He cares in some way about Vic and Sophia.
Definitely cares about Eve to an extent. He used her as an alibi, which is kind of messed up.
He cares about them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when he needs something, when something is going to benefit him personally, he's going to do it. Right? Ideally, he's not going to fuck over his family, right? Ideally, he can be like have what he wants and save people. But if he has to choose, it's always going to be the thing that puts him on top.
Right. Case in point, this was brilliant. So Vic messes up trying to get the jewels out of the car. So that plan's messed up. He's face to face now with the guy who's going to tell Sophia, "Hey, who killed her brother?" So Oswald just calls an audible and just kills the informant. But before he does it, it's like, "Hey, man, make sure," like stuff like that. It's like he's conniving, calculated, so cold though. Just
it's incredible
using people
to watch because every character he interacts with knows he's full of shit.
Knows he's sizing them up.
Every character he interacts with knows he's willing to say whatever to get ahead.
Victor didn't initially, but now Victor's getting smart to his BS, I think.
A little bit. But even Victor's kind of innocent in all this.
Yeah, he's still naive. Still definitely naive.
His family died. It's a rough time for him.
Yeah.
The Riddler attack killed his family.
Yeah.
But I think a big thing is that even though they know he's a piece of shit, even though they know he's not really trustworthy, even though they know he's conniving and they don't respect him, they all still somehow end up working with him.
He's magnetic. He
has this magnetic genius.
Yeah, it's Oz. Yeah.
He has this magnetic genius where they should all just put a bullet in his head, and save themselves the trouble. But then they all think, this guy's gonna be useful to me.
But because Oz knows how to talk, he knows how to spin, he knows how to really get in your good graces in a good way. He did it with Sophia. He definitely did it with Salvatore's wife. And like it kind of backfired a little bit, but he's good at that, and like he's good at establishing these relationships, and like again, he uses people.
Yeah, he's trying to play everybody against each other. Yeah. A little bit of a little finger feel.
Definitely little finger feel. Definitely.
She was character, big fish and a small fish in a big pond, trying to outplay the bigger fish.
But he still gets his hands dirty, like case in point, like killing that informant, but making sure the informant just stuff like that where like he's playing this so-and-so the game of Thrones or Gotham in this case really well, and I guess we'll see what happens with him.
No, it's been one of the best series of the year. The tone, the psychological aspect, Crhristin Milloti's performance.
Her eyes.
Is there anything you don't like about it, Kosi? Anything you want to take away from it?
I guess some things I don't like a little bit are just pacing issues in some of the episodes. Again, I think with any... It definitely feels like we're ramping up towards something, and I think it's just a common thing.
It doesn't feel like a movie that got stretched out, though.
Yeah, it's just a common thing.
It does feel like it's supposed to be a TV show, which I like. A lot of Marvel stuff feels like a movie that was stretched out to 8 episodes.
The first couple episodes are establishing everybody, like all the pieces that we're going to see on this chessboard. Definitely had an episode to establish Sophia, which I don't mind at all, but like it didn't really push... It pushed her stuff forward, but not maybe the whole story as a whole.
It did because she killed most of her family.
Yes. At the end of that, So again, it's a small little gripe. I have almost zero gripe. Again, like
it's a 10 out of 10 show.
The costuming is great. The shot selection is great. It legit looks like a movie. Still, it looks big, but it doesn't look cheap. It looks like they really put it
in
there.
One thing too, for people who are worried. So it clearly ties in and follows up on the events of the Batman.
Oh yeah, you have little Easter eggs. Yeah,
not even just Easter eggs. Like it's hard to fully 100% follow everything without knowing what's going on in the Batman. But at the same time, you just kind of need to know a few place-setting details. The series mostly stands on its own.
Yeah, it's about the Falcones and the Maronis. It's not really about like the Batman, and that's more of the backdrop.
I understand, like people are like, okay, I don't want to watch another comic book movie.
It's not a comic book.
It's more. It's something much more along the lines of a new Sopranos.
Yeah.
That just so happens to have a lot of the proper nouns associated with a Batman show.
Yeah, but
the Batman movie specifically, the Matt Reeves ones.
You definitely hear the words Arkham. You hear the word Gotham, like
and they definitely the events of the first movie play deep into the setup and the plot of this one.
And I think I do believe that this show will even set up stuff we'll see in the Batman 2 that they're making right now.
I very well see it.
Yeah, and I love the world building they're doing with this because Gotham is it's huge, it's sprawling, and like we're seeing little parts of its underbelly, the rich parts, and like all the stuff in this show, and just big ups to the people making this. We're 4 episodes down. We have 4 more to go, and I'm excited.
So as far as a few things, I wasn't a huge fan of.
Oh sure, yeah.
A biggest one was that the opening exposition I thought was goofy and kind of dumb.
Like the news, the
newsreel. It was like a bunch of local news channels.
Yeah, it was kind of flipping through the channels.
Talking about the inner workings of a crime mob family. Like they're talking about the Kardashians. They're just casually like, oh, new head of the family, Alberto Falcone, is a bit of a drinker. It's like, what?
It was like a real quick, convenient way to get us up to speed.
I get that they always have to have exposition dumps and it's always awkward. I just felt like, I don't know, they could have easily had it where like the police chief was explaining to somebody the current situation, or even it could have been Oz Cobb explaining to somebody, the Falcones are in disarray. Alberto's in charge now, but he likes to hit the bottles.
Almost like you would have wanted like a voiceover.
Not necessarily a voiceover.
That's kind of cheesy too.
It could have just had like the Penguin having a conversation with somebody.
Okay, you don't. All right.
I could have even that first conversation with Alberto. They could have done a lot of it. It's like, oh, like when you're doing the scenes, they could be like, oh, so you're I hear you're the new boss in charge now. You're you could tell them you're your father's son, blah blah blah. Oh, and then it could have been like, instead of telling you, oh, Alberto seems like he has an alcohol problem. It could have been like, hey, why not? Let's go celebrate you being the new boss. Drinks on me, and then you see him getting wasted, and then you infer, they show not tell that he's an alcoholic and a druggie.
Okay,
right.
Okay,
so I feel like pure voiceover would have been goofy too.
Right.
But they could have had like somebody informing the new mayor, like the police chief informing the mayor.
About
okay,
what's going on.
here's the situation with this. Like I don't know, the idea of the local news doing it seemed goofy.
Or just showing local news. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean.
Like, they didn't even drop allegedlys. They were just like, oh yeah, here's a new head of the crime boss family. It's like, this isn't E! Entertainment where they're just showing I don't know. It just felt goofy.
I got you, man.
And then I could see some of the pacing issues.
It's minor issues, though.
Minor issue. I mean, it's an incredible show.
Yeah.
It sometimes does veer into a little almost comic booky in terms of, I don't know how to say it. Just some of the dialogue, some of the play setting and stuff. It feels like it won't go kind of as artsy or as prestigious or as metaphorical as something like a Sopranos or a Casinos, like an actual Scorsese.
I think that's a bit of his strength because I think that's it knowing what it is, because it knows that it's set in DC universe. It kind of it'll play to those motifs.
Fair.
I think
that's fair.
Yeah,
I can see what you're saying. It's just, frankly, it's such a good show that it almost feels like it should be the kind of show that gets mentioned, 10 years from now. It's like, oh, we're talking about all-time mob shows. Oh yeah, obviously there's Sopranos and clearly Penguin's up there.
Oh.
And it feels like right now it's a little content. Not quite content. It's still an amazing show, but it feels like, okay, we're gonna set the upper boundary at what we think the best comic book movie can accomplish is. Does that make sense? We're not gonna take it that one step farther, where it's like, okay, this is gonna be an all-time piece of art.
I'll still say this: we are only 4 episodes in. That could change by episode 8.
It could.
Because I think we'll have a bigger idea of what it is.
I think there's a little bit of a safeness there. I think the DC has a little bit of. I think there's just a little bit of holding back.
I don't know, man. They're doing stuff in the show that we've seen in Sopranos and Goodfellas and Godfather. I see what you mean. I think they're swinging for it.
I think they're swinging for it. I think they're holding back just a little bit. Just a little bit. Maybe it's in my mind. Maybe it's in my mind.
Could be, but
it's not even a criticism. It's like,
I say what you mean.
Hey, this is a A+ show. It could be
A++,
a triple plus show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it sounds goofy to say, but it's just like, I really feel like the performances here, the work here, the shot, story. Okay, like another example, like the fact that they had to bring in this new kind of goofy drug that's clearly like a comic book type drug. I don't know.
Oh, from the mushrooms?
Yeah, the mushrooms.
It is a kind of roundabout way to get the drug.
It just feels like a comic book drug where it just feels like over the top, right? In real life there's just heroin and oxy and fentanyl and stuff. Again, you don't need like fancy weird mushrooms. You just need normal stuff.
I see what you mean, but if this was the Many Saints in Newark, that will just be some red meth. But this is the Penguin.
If it was the Many Saints of Newark, it would be okay. And the red meth would just be a marketing gimmick, right? It would just be like, okay, it's just meth. We just put a little it just happened the chemical formula happened to make it red. It's just a little chemical gimmick, but it's still meth.
But it's the Penguin.
We're not pretending. You know what this is? If it's Breaking Bad, it might be blue, but it's meth. It's not a brand new thing. Oh no, it's bliss, and we have drops. You know what I mean? It's just like, it clearly should have just been heroin.
The drops were established in the Batman is the drug of choice on the streets. These are just like super drops or like an
I get
evolution.
But it felt like a little bit like, oh man, if we say heroin, we have to put an R rating. You know what I mean?
But it's like your show's already R rated. You got a guy had his eye gouged out.
That's true. And I think it is a rated M.
It's rated R. But I think that's again is straight out of a comic book, or would be in a comic book. Oh, yeah. The drugs come from this mushroom, kind of like in Nolan's Batman. Yeah. Oh, that flower I got, you have to go to a freaking Himalayas to get it, and take that flower and make it into the poison in the third act of the movie.
Yeah, it's just it's like, You know, it's like, hey, we're doing a realistic crime show. Just say heroin. Just say heroin.
But Christopher Nolan,
just say it's a special. Just say it's a special heroin that they got from the Middle East or something, right? Like magical poppies. I don't know, but like, you know what I mean? It's like criticism. I'm loving the show.
I get the nitpick,
I can't stress enough that I am riveted. That I can't wait to see what happens next.
It's appointment television again on HBO. They're the kings of that. They have Game of Thrones at House of Dragon now. They have every Sunday.
That is better than House of Dragon.
You can come in.
It's better than House of Dragon.
I have to wait for the whole 8.
I do want to see the whole thing first.
I'm enjoying the hell out of
I think
every
season
episode.
2. Season 1 of House of Dragon was pretty excellent. Season 2 was a little off.
Yeah, season 1 of House of Dragon is in perfection. But yeah, I can't. But this series, The Penguin, has been phenomenal. Can't wait to see what they do with it. Again, tune in every Sunday to see
each episode. What are you dropping your rating for this? I'm gonna have to drop it.
Oh man,
9 out of 10 suits. 9 out of 10 suits.
Okay. I won't give it a 10 out of 10 because I still did. I definitely had some minor issues with this. Yeah, but this will definitely get a definite 9 quacks out of 10.
9 quacks out of 10.
This
seems
is excellent.
That
excellent
seems
show.
very reasonable. It does feel like you want to hesitate to give it a 10. But it's like a 9.5. You know what I mean?
And
it's
also
like
10s are rare. 10s are like
10 has to be the kind of stuff where we're confident. 10 years from now, somebody's going to be looking back and that's still a 10.
Exactly.
That's still a 10.
Exactly.
If 10 years from now, people are asking, what the fuck was that show? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like... There's a difference. There's a difference.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, everybody remembers Friends. Not everybody remembers Everybody Loves Raymond. Does that make sense?
I see. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, everybody remembers Seinfeld.
They're both beloved shows. Yeah.
Not everybody remembers Scrubs.
Or everyone loves Cheers, and oddly enough, not everybody remembers Frasier.
That's another story.
Even though, again, 2 beloved shows. Yeah. Again, not saying Frasier. No one no. But like people in the zeitgeist and in memory, Cheers is more so there than Frasier.
I think ended close to 20 years ago now. It was 2000.
It was 2007. I think it was 2007.
Yeah, close to look at bro.
Yeah,
we're talking about close to 20 years ago. And that's still the go-to. Oh, we're talking about a mob show. Oh yeah, Sopranos.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah, it's
Sopranos.
It's considered
instantly. It's considered one of the golden era TV shows.
It's The Wire, but for white people, I always say.
The gangster version.
For Italian people,
it's the gangster version of The Wire.
Yeah,
right. It's a mob version of The Wire.
Yeah. I put that up there with like shows. Breaking Bad is definitely up there with shows that
it's some of that golden era of television. Yeah. It's the kind of stuff that everything gets compared to. If you have an Italian mob in your show, people are going to be like, "Oh, it's The Sopranos," right? Mm-hmm. Just like talking about it. So I don't think this is quite. It has 4 more episodes to do so. And I'm loving it.
But a 9 out of 10 is great. A 9 out of 10 rating is great.
A 9 out of 10 is great. Highly recommended. One of the best shows of this year.
Oh yeah.
No, can't say enough good things about it.
Quack quack.
Quack quack.
All right, man.
So I think it's time for plug of the week.
Plug of the week.
Let's plug it.
You know what? I'll go first with my plug of the week. It's been a while. But I want to plug this a new horror movie that came out on Shudder. It actually debuted a couple weeks ago called VHS Beyond. So VHS is a whole franchise. This is actually the 7th. Actually, it's the 9th installment of the VHS franchise, going all the way back to 2014. They're these found footage movies that have like a little wraparound segment that kind of has a theme for them all, and different horror directors come in and like do different segments. And so VHS Beyond is the most recent one. I've loved this series. Series is kind of taking a little dip, a few of them. My favorite
is it a TV show or
no? It's a movie series, but like it's like a bunch of like found footage or like different media movies. Like the guy that did The Raid and It Comes Tonight. What's that movie called? Something at Night. Like he directed a couple segments of this. So different directors. We even have Scott Derrickson doing some segments. So in this most recent one, VHS Beyond, it's about aliens and extraterrestrials and stuff like that. It's great. There's one segment that really unsettled me. It's called Fur Babies. It's written directed by Justin Long, great guy. We saw him in Barbarian most recently.
Justin Long, baby.
Yeah, that he delivered the most unsettling segment in VHS Beyond. Yeah, you can find it on the Shudder app. You can get Shudder for $5.99 and watch all types of stuff.
Finding some kind of weird torture basement under his house.
Oh my god!
And then immediately thinking,
give me the tape measure.
Give me the tape measure so I can see how much I can rent this room out for.
He looks up, hey, are underground dwellings bullshit or can I make money off of it?
It's genius.
Loved him.
What a piece of shit character.
Dude, side thing. So Zach Krieger, the guy that did Barbarian, the movie with him in it, he initially, do you know who he wanted to get first before he got Justin Long?
Who?
Zac Efron.
Ooh.
And Zac Efron, I think, was just like, no, I'm not feeling this, and like passed.
Oh.
Yeah. Would have.
I can't hate on him because Iron Claw, I've heard incredible things. I still gotta watch that.
Yeah, I think he went on to do Iron Claw.
I still gotta watch Iron Claw.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I think he went on to do Iron Claw actually. But yeah,
bro, it's wild that Troy from High School Musical has become an incredible actor. Can we talk about that?
Wildcats in the air, man, everywhere. Wave your hands up in the air.
But yeah, so for my plug of the week, I almost feel like it's malpractice to actively plug this, but I have to shout this out because at some point we're gonna try to do a proper review of this movie.
Okay.
I am going to shout out, and I don't even think it's in theaters anymore, so good luck. But Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's final.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so is a good term for it. I don't think he has enough money to keep making these.
No, I think
he has to finance it himself.
Someone just trip him or like throw a banana peel.
Somebody he had to finance it himself. Sell the big punch of his wine empire.
Juan, lock him in a closet, please, just so he can just.
Now listen, y'all. It's when I say I hesitate to plug this and encourage people to watch this,
right?
I mean, the most succinct and pithy description I can say of this movie is probably the most fun and enjoyment I've had at any theater experience this year.
Bring the whole family, huh? Okay.
But I don't think I would actively recommend anybody on earth watch this.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
It's I don't know, like the comparisons I can make to this. I won't do a full review, but we'll do a little bit of an extended plug. Yeah. Like
real
it's
quick,
stuff like The Room, in terms of sheer earnestness by a director making something.
His vision, yeah.
So, one thing about this movie, and again, similar to The Room, you get used to, with Hollywood, a certain level of base quality. Like certain standards for how movies are made, for how they're written. Even bad movies tend to be like, okay, here's a beginning, middle, end. Mm-hmm. They tend to like, oh, hey, if we set something up in the first act, we have to at least reference. Even if it's a stupid thing, we have to like reference it in the
just for
third act.
For continuity's sake.
Yeah, there's a certain, art style. Again, there's just a certain basic competence that you take for granted. Even something like stupid, like Borderlands, it's like, okay, it's a bad movie, but it's not like a truly like, it's not amateurish.
Still competently made.
Yeah, it's not amateur. It's you could tell professionals made it. You could tell people who have cut their teeth on other Hollywood movies made this. It might not have the most creative visual angles. It might not have terrific acting. It might be a mess in a lot of ways. But there's just a certain competence you grow used to expect.
So you're telling me after watching Megalopolis, it didn't seem as though like one of the greatest filmmakers ever made this movie? It
did not seem
that's crazy.
Like he had any kind of quality control of this movie.
This is Coppola.
People like plot points would come up and then just be dropped like 2 scenes later.
And listeners, this is Francis Ford Coppola. He did The Godfather.
He did Godfather and Apocalypse Now.
Some of the greatest movies of all. Like Godfather 2 is like, I think it's the greatest sequel ever made.
Godfather 2 and Apocalypse Now could easily be considered. If you're talking about top 3 movies from any director, that top 3 probably goes over anybody else's.
That's amazing.
Like, if we're just talking about the top peak of somebody's career, it's hard to beat this guy's peak, right? And if you went into this movie thinking, hey, I'm going to watch the finale of a genius director's great career, you are going to be unbelievably disappointed.
Dude.
This shit makes no sense. Plots are picked up and dropped. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, so I went in so deeply inebriated that I had to get my wife to take me to the theater.
To order an Uber.
I literally had to be like, hey, I cannot. It would be dangerous for me to transport myself to the theater. I apologize for this, wife.
Uber me,
oh,
babe.
by the way, wife, don't come to the theater with me because I'm almost positive you're gonna have a miserable time if you watch this movie. But I just need to experience it.
No,
I
save
just
yourself.
need. I need to.
Off.
From what I've seen and heard, I just needed to experience it. And holy shit, bro! I don't think I've laughed so hard in a long. I just pure laughter and joy, but at stuff that I don't think was necessarily supposed to be a joke.
Yep.
An actual quote at a pivotal moment. Not too many spoilers, but an actual quote at a pivotal moment is John Voight saying, "Check out this boner I got," while he's laying in a bed pretending to be suffering from a stroke. Like post-stroke, he says, "Check out this boner I got," and then he pulls out a bow and arrow and kills. This movie makes no sense.
Okay, now I got to see this. Okay, Juan. Now you're selling me on the movie.
This movie makes
you sold me.
Absolutely no sense. There's that one point where Adam Driver starts to quote Hamlet's soliloquy, to be or not to be, blah, blah, blah. People do that for a little bit. We all have to memorize like 20 lines of it in high school. It goes for like a good 5 minutes. He just keeps going.
Kylo Ren, stop, bro.
It's so awkward.
Dude, I got to check this out.
And you start laughing. And again, you're not entirely sure. At one point, they bring up a storyline about how Shia LaBeouf is possibly, like, they catch will be like,
he's in this?
Yeah, because they go like, Shia LaBeouf might be fucking his sister. Oh, really?
Louis Stevens, what are you doing, bro?
He might be fucking his, and then they just never bring it up again.
Oh.
And then later on, he's standing up on top of a swastika stump, giving a stump speech about like how Adam Driver's character is bad. I will say Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza, her character's name is Wow Platinum. Wow Platinum. There's a big scene where somebody just calls her Auntie Wow repeatedly while she's getting eaten out. Her pussy's getting eaten out. It's a mindfuck. Don't try to pay attention to the actual messages and themes and plots of this movie. It's not some. Oh man, I really gotta give it a proper review where we go into like a lot of this detail.
I legit can't wait for your player haters and look out. For
I don't know if player haters the right thing because again, I deeply connected with the experience of this movie.
Whatever it is, we got.
But we have to. I want to bring Eric in here because he had a miserable time watching this movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
He had an absolutely miserable time watching this movie.
We will. All right, it's just in. We'll have a Megalopolis episode, viewers. So look out for that.
He clearly went to a theater where people were expecting greatness.
Didn't he go with his dad?
He went to his dad sober, expecting like a packed theater opening night, expecting greatness. I went to a theater with 5 other people, looked like college-age dudes.
That's great.
And clearly they were there for the memes. They were laughing. They were laughing at every single line. I was laughing. It was a wonderful communal experience.
Faith in young people.
It was about 5-6 people.
All right.
All of us got the joke. All of us knew how ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's an experience. Whatever else you want to say, whatever else critique, it's a true experience. You go into Borderlands, you're going to go bored as fuck. You're going to forget you watched it the next day. You go into this, I was giggling my ass off 2 days later at just every one of the lines in this movie, bro.
Well,
genius stuff. Genius madness.
Megalopolis, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It is probably a final film. Check it out if you can.
You're going to go broke for this. He did not make good money on that movie.
Of course not.
And deservedly so. That's not a movie with mass appeal. You have to have a very certain mindset to get enjoyment out of that film.
Thanks, Juan, for the plug of the week. Dude, this is great to be back.
Great to be back, Kosi. Love seeing you again. Love doing this.
Dude.
Been a fun time. Watch The Penguin, y'all.
Please watch The Penguin.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
One of the top shows of the year.
Yeah, man.
Watch Megalopolis when it comes out on streaming just for the memes.
Just for the LOLs, guys.
Just have a flask. It doesn't matter if you're in your house. Just have a flask on hand. You're not gonna want to be stopping to pour shots. You take a shot every time somebody says something ridiculous, and you can just go to the hospital afterwards.
You'll be dead. But thanks, viewers. Hey, Juan, thank you for showing up, and also thank you guys for always listening for this episode. Again, you can find us on Spotify under the name It Was Mooney. You can also find us on YouTube under It Was Mooney under the same name. Again, look out for stuff like our Megalopolis review with Eric coming out soon, and other videos coming out. So again, I've been Kosi, and I've been always joined by Wani B. Until next time, guys. Adios.
Adios.
Peace out.